Hi, everyone. Today I'm introducing myself because Paul is away having fun in Tanzania in a lifestyle event. So I hope that some of the people from Tanzania that I'm seeing, like Daktari over there, will soon be joining such like lifestyle events. And let me welcome everyone, all of us. We too shall be having fun. And it is my pleasure to welcome you this evening and to say that I hope that we shall have a good half hour in which we are going to do lots of learning. And of course, as I said, it's not possible to take the questions during the session, but you're always welcome to ask the questions privately at my phone number. So for those maybe who are new, my name is Betty Oloo. I have been in the business for quite a number of years, 2 decades and over. And it's always our pleasure to spend this Thursday evening sharing with you ideas and the knowledge that we have of the business with the aim of helping you in any way that we can to build your distributorship and to be a person who is able to bring a positive difference in the lives of everyone who comes within your circle of influence. So as you might have seen in your invite today, my session is going to be on gut health. And so let me just start right away by saying that, of course, a healthy gut plays a very important role in our overall health. I was just thinking when Paul was saying that they're in Tanzania, that we used to have a saying that we were taught by our Kiswahili teacher, that another way of saying you're going out for lunch is to say, naenda kutupa mawe pangoni. So we may some, in other words, in English, it means I'm going to throw stones into the cave. So sometimes we may think of our gut as a cave where we drop food through our mouth and it drops somewhere in there. We don't know what happens, and then something comes out of the other end. But today I would like us to just take some considerations about our guts and to say, first of all, that it's an important part of our overall health. And in fact, to a degree that some have called it the second brain because of the amount of nervous tissue that is actually contained in our gut. And also the fact that those nerves directly connect our gut to our brains. And that is why sometimes probably is where we get the saying, I have a gut feeling that I know something, but I don't know how I know it. The knowledge does not seem to be coming from my head. It's actually coming from my gut. So maybe that connection is responsible for that feeling. But anyway, to just get into it, I'd like to say that our gut is a tube with identifiable sections. We have the first section that once we pass through our mouth, we go into the stomach. From the stomach, we go into the small intestine, from the small intestine to the large intestines. And then we come close to the other opening at the other end, at the anus. And the gut has got several functions, of which a very important one, which has recently gotten a lot of attention from researchers, is the fact that it contains a population of trillions of friendly microbes, including bacteria, including fungi, and so on. And these bacteria are friendly because they facilitate certain processes with us and help us in very many beneficial ways. And in fact, we have evolved to have them within our guts. And when they are not in the correct proportions, we will have some health issues, as we'll go on to see further below. So of course, apart from containing those friendly bacteria, our gut has glands and cells which are able to produce as well as secrete digestive enzymes and fluids, which help us to digest the food that we take in through our mouths. Let us look at some of the functions of the gut. The first one I'd like to mention, of course, that we know very well is that Right from when we take the food in our mouth, the breakdown process starts. We break down our food in our mouth by chewing, and then we swallow. And once we reach the stomach, the digestion process begins, where we've got the enzymes and the other fluids that bring about the digestion process. So that is the first thing, that it helps to efficiently break down and digest the food that we ingest. And then the next thing, of course, is that it produces the correct enzymes at the correct places, as well as digestive fluids in response to the food that we take in, as well as also there will be hormones that are produced or secreted into the gut. All this, of course, takes place without us knowing how it happens. Isn't it wonderful that this system is able to regulate itself, so that we just put in the food and everything works out. And if we have got a healthy gut, it just regulates itself until everything is as it should be. Then, of course, the next thing is that the next function is that our gut is responsible for participating in our immune system. And the immune cells, many immune cells, in fact, 70% of the body's immune cells that fight off bad bacteria and viruses actually are inside our guts. We know also that our gut, our stomach is highly acidic, which makes it possible for it to kill any of the microbes that might enter into our gut through the food that we eat. In addition to that, as I mentioned before, there are lots of nerves in our gut which also communicate with the brain. And that is how, in fact, it is possible for us, for instance, to know that we are hungry or that we are full, because that is a message that comes from our gut to our brain. So how do I know that I've taken enough food? There are some stretch receptors in my stomach, which once they are stretched to a certain degree, they send a message to my brain that, okay, the bag is full, stop adding more. Of course, if we are not responsible and we keep on going on, we may end up with indigestion. But just to say that there's a communication system of nerves between our gut and our brains inside our heads. And that means that our gut also has got a responsibility to give us certain information. So for instance, you may find that our gut can actually influence our mood. You may have noticed, Pascal usually has a story he tells about someone who told him that when you have had enough to eat, you don't get angry easily. But when you are hungry, you can easily get angry. So sometimes you are not just angry, you are angry. So our gut actually can influence our moods. Stress can also be caused by what's going on in our gut. So for example, if our stomach is upset, or if we are fearful, we may find that our gut does not work properly, and so on. So just with those points, to emphasize the fact that our gut is not just a cave inside our body where mysterious things happen. It is actually a very important part of us and has got far-reaching influences in our body. Also, to just draw your attention to the fact that our gut is continuous with the skin on our bodies. So if you keep on with through your mouth, it's continuous with the skin on the surface of our body. That is why we may find that sometimes problems on our skins could be originating from our gut. And it's a good thing to keep in mind that sometimes the problem on your skin does not require you to put more and more skin creams and this and that, but rather to check what is happening in your gut, because it could actually be what is bringing about the problems on the surface of your body, on the skin. So what are some of the signs that warn us that maybe our gut is not as healthy as it should be? I have a number of them that I wanted to mention. The first one being that we can have certain stressors in our gut that produce effects like constipation. We may have diarrhea, we may have bloating, and sometimes they can all be taking place one after the other. So someone may be, sometimes they are constipated, then they have diarrhea, and then sometimes they have a feeling of being bloated. So if this is a chronic situation, then it is a warning sign that all is not well with the health of our gut. and we should start assessing what could be going on there, either by visiting the doctor or by also observing what is the content of our diet. Then the second sign would be chronic problems, other chronic problems, for example, hemorrhoids or ulcers, or irregular continuous indigestion or frequent indigestion, as well as high acidity, heartburn. If we regularly have heartburn, it could also be a warning sign that all is not okay with our gut, and we need to pay some attention there and examine what could be at the bottom of a problem. Another sign of poor gut health is autoimmune diseases. We have on many occasions, maybe for those who have been training with us for a while, spoken about diseases that originate from our immunity, when our immunity, instead of protecting us, starts attacking us. That is what we refer to when we are speaking about autoimmune conditions. And these conditions will often be found to originate from problems in the gut. So if you have someone, or you yourself have this experience of an autoimmune disease, for example, we have things like psoriasis, we have things like lupus and so on. Some of these, the origin could be in the problems to do with the gut. So autoimmune diseases can also be a sign of poor gut health. Then another one is inflammatory skin problems, where the skin is reacting and is often very swollen and angry looking, maybe red, bright red and so on. Or skin conditions like eczema, where there is itching and rashes. This, as I said, because our stomach and the skin on our body is continuous, can be originating from the gut. Of course, it's not always that, but that could be one of the places to look. So for example, it could be that we are reacting to something on our skin or in the air, but sometimes it could be that the origin is in the gut. Then another sign of poor gut health is craving sugary food. The reason why we crave sugary food is that the population of unfriendly bacteria and microbes in our gut is higher than the population of the friendly bacteria. So the more sugar we take, the more we feed the unfriendly bacteria, the disease-causing bacteria. And the more they increase, the more they make us crave the food that they like, which is sugary food. So if we notice that we are more and more craving sugary things, it could be a warning to us that we need to do the opposite thing, which is not to put more and more sugar in our diet, but rather to reduce it and convert to a healthier, natural diet, so as to feed the healthy, friendly microbes. And to these ones, as their numbers increase, are going to reduce the population of the bad microbes. So craving sugary foods is another warning sign of poor gut health. If we see this in our children or in our own self or people that we know, this could be one of the things that is causing the craving of sugar. And as we know, sugar is implicated in very many health problems. So if we are craving sugary foods, it's actually something we should attend to and deal with. Then another sign of poor gut health is an intolerance to a wide range of food. So if many things that we eat cause a bad reaction in our gut, maybe almost everything that we eat causes us either to feel bloated, or we have diarrhea, or we have constipation, or something like that, then it is one of the reasons could be that our gut health has deteriorated, and so our gut is no longer able to perform its duties of digesting and assimilating the food that we take. So of course, we may have some intolerance to certain foods, but if the range is very wide, it is another warning sign. Then if another sign of poor gut health is if we have frequent bouts of anxiety and depression. This again is not necessarily that anytime we are anxious or depressed is something to do with our gut, but that is another place where we can look, because that is one of the ways that the mood disorders can originate from our gut. Then bad breath. If we have bad breath, in spite of taking good care of our dental hygiene, it could be a sign that bad bacteria are accumulating in our gut or in the wrong parts of our gut. because these friendly microbes are supposed to be in the large intestine, not in any other part of the gut. So if they start growing in other parts of the gut, like the small intestine, then they cause problems. So if we have bad breath and we cannot see why, maybe we have already tried to take very good care of our dental hygiene. That is the other place to look. It could be to do with gut health problems. Okay, finally, another sign is chronic fatigue and sleep problems, that we are always tired in spite of sleeping. We are always struggling to sleep. This can be also a sign that our gut is not okay. Or more, of course, because if our gut is not working well, our sleep might be disturbed by trips to the toilet, by pain in the stomach, and so on. So those are some of the signs of poor gut health. There are quite a number, but it's good for us to have this idea so we know that if we have a certain problem, it could be originating from our gut and we might not have thought about it before. Then how do we improve our gut health? Of course, the first one would be to eat a wide variety of foods that are minimally processed, because many of the excessively processed foods, we have not adapted to digesting them. So if the majority of the food that we take is excessively processed, it's going to start causing our gut problem, because our gut is built to deal with certain things and not with others. So if we are always taking the wrong thing, then what might happen is that eventually we run down our gut and we start having problems. So it's good to have between 70 and 80% of natural foods, which are rich in healthy fiber, rich in healthy fats, and of course, plant foods such as fruits and vegetables, legumes as well, and also to have healthy meats and so on. So this would be the good stuff that our gut likes to deal with and is adapted to